Welcome to the Career Studio podcast, where we boil down the noise and focus on the core concepts essential for building an energizing career you love, one that is simply an extension of who you are and how you want to live your life. Anyone can do it. It's just a matter of knowing what to focus on. Hello. In an ongoing effort to make these podcasts more sustainable for me, I've probably spent 20 minutes thinking about what to say for this episode and just decided to get on here and record it. So today I was speaking with a client of mine who is in the middle of rethinking her career, and she wanted some coaching on managing the uncertainty she felt. She felt really lost and really challenged by the uncertainty she felt around not knowing what comes next for her professionally. And we had a really rich discussion, and I decided to come on and kind of repeat here what I said to her, because this is something that I see so often with the people that I'm coaching, and is a common hurdle for creating a career and life that you really love. And I think the issue is that uncertainty is a normal part of any transition. You get to a period in your professional life where the version of you who was doing the job that you're doing, that no longer feels right. So you know you're growing out of wherever you are, but you're not sure what comes next. And that uncertainty can feel really uncomfortable, right? Because people like to have a plan. You like to know exactly where you're going. You like to have focus and direction so you can build against that. And so when we don't have that, because we don't know what comes next, it can feel like we're free falling. It can feel like we're doing it wrong. It can feel very uncomfortable. And what I see happen all the time is that people are so uncomfortable with the uncertainty that's part of growing into someone new, that relieving the uncertainty becomes more important than figuring out actually what is the best next step for me, right? So maybe an opportunity presents itself and we just hop at that to have made a decision so that we're no longer in uncertainty. You know, we take the first job that's offered to us, or we just pick what is familiar or that we know already that's slightly different than where we are. In this way, the uncertainty is released. We have a destination where we're going. We've made a decision and we can, quote unquote, relax. But actually, the problem with making a decision just to have relieved the uncertainty is that decision is made in haste, right? It's just made to relieve the uncertainty. It's not made because it's the right decision. And then so you find yourself in another role that's not right because you made your decision in haste, not from an aligned place, but from a place of panic and urgency to not feel uncertain. And so the tricky part, or what's really uncomfortable, is allowing yourself to settle in to the uncertainty of not knowing so that you can give yourself the time and the space to really explore what is the best next step. And this is really what is crucial to redesigning your career in a way that makes better sense for the person that you're growing into or the person that you've become. I kind of often use the metaphor of fog. So think about you're on a boat and you have pushed off from the shore behind you, okay? But the river that you're on, or the lake, the body of water that you're on, is covered in fog. And you know that there's land on the other side. You just don't know how far that land is from you, and you don't really know what it looks like. But you've heard about it, you know it's there, but you're in this fog and you can't see it. And so transitioning your career is a bit like this. You're in a boat, in the fog, paddling towards a shore that you're not really sure what it looks like because there's fog in the way and you're not exactly sure how long it's going to take to get there. But when you give yourself permission to feel uncertain, when you accept that that's normal, it's a normal part of your growth process, it's a normal part of a transition, that's when you really can have the spaciousness to explore. And that's what's essential for redesigning your career in a way that makes sense for you. You have to take action through the confusion. You have to keep paddling if you're going to get to the other shore. Right? So this looks like really taking the time to talk to people, doing the variety of things that interest you, and have those conversations and allow that to happen and allow yourself to learn from those conversations and allow your body the space it needs to react to something. Do I feel curious after that conversation? Was that exciting? Was that interesting? Do I want to know more? Or do I not? And do I feel closed off? When you give yourself time to explore, you can allow yourself to recognize the signals of what feels like a yes versus what feels like a no. And you just have to keep taking action through your confusion by having conversations following what feels warm, what feels interesting, what feels fun. Eventually, the fog will lift. You'll know where you're going, and you'll have had enough conversations that you'll know the path to get there. But it's not a process that's the same for every single person. Everyone's journey is unique because what everyone wants is different. And so how long that's going to take you depends, right? With my clients, we work together for 5 months. So it takes no less than 5 months. Sorry, no more than 5 months to figure out where is that shore and how do I get there. But if you're doing it on your own, it might take longer. And that's okay too, right? It's okay to do it by yourself because you have less structure, right? And you don't necessarily know the most efficient way to go about the process. But what is the most important thing is giving yourself that time and space to explore. And there's a couple ways to set yourself up to explore in an effective way. So one, it's good if you can see your day job as something sustainable. It's good if your day job feels sustainable, right? So you don't want to be working 18-hour days. That's not going to give you capacity to explore, right? My clients in management consulting, often I think they need to be on the beach or kind of taking a sabbatical from management consulting in order to have the capacity to really explore. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just easier if work is a bit chiller. Or if you can make sure that you structure your day job in a way where you're doing things that interest you, while you know that it's not the long-term solution, you're seeing it as supporting you with money or with continued learning opportunity so that you don't resent your day job, right? You don't want to be in a negative place about the work that you do every day. You want to see it as supporting or benefiting you. Again, to free yourself up mentally. Because if you're in a negative space about your day job, this is just going to cloud your vision of what's possible for you. It's going to make you feel rushed to make a decision so that you can get out of your day job. So make your day job sustainable in that go after the projects that interest you, make sure that you have enough time for your personal life. You're not working crazy hours, and really look at it through the lens of the perspective of supporting you in some way and having been good for the past few years. And now it's time for something else, and that's okay. Right? So the more sustainable and chill you can be about your work, the more you'll have capacity to explore. And another really effective way to explore and navigate uncertainty is to work in a job that allows you to explore a variety of things that you might want to do. So I'll give you a personal example. When I decided I wanted to become a coach, I wasn't exactly sure in what capacity I wanted to be a coach. And I found an opportunity at a training and coaching company that worked with Fortune 500 companies. And I used that experience over a couple years to explore the coaching industry. And I was running marketing for them, which is kind of my previous career. So I knew that job wasn't going to be a long-term solution for me, but it afforded me a window into the industry to explore all the different ways that I could become a coach, right? Did I want to go in-house and work on a learning and development team? Did I want to be on a roster of coaches for a kind of external agency? Did I want to have my own business? Did I want to do group coaching versus individual coaching? So it allowed me to have a paycheck in a sector I was interested in while taking the time to explore what is actually right. So yeah, this is basically my point. Uncertainty is normal when you are growing out of one version of yourself and into someone else. And what's important is that you don't rush to not feel uncertain. Embrace the fact that you feel uncertain, that you don't know what comes next. That's okay. It's an experience in life that's normal. It doesn't mean that you've messed up. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. And I think, those are the perspectives that often get people tripped up, not just it feels uncomfortable, which is kind of what I talked about at the start, but also I think there's a perception that we have culturally that people will judge us for not, having our shit together and knowing exactly what we want at all times. That somehow not knowing what you want is a negative thing. And I would say it's only negative if you, do whatever you want. Nothing's negative. That's my, perspective. But it's only negative if you don't take action, right? If you're saying, oh, I don't know what I want and I'm unhappy here, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay, well, then maybe you're not making the most out of your life, right? Which would be okay too. But what's important to remind yourself that if you are taking action through your uncertainty, through your confusion, and if you're taking action by exploring, talking to people, asking them questions, trying to figure out what would be a good fit for you, then this is still clarity. This is still action. This is still someone who's striving to create the best life for themselves. So it's okay to not know what you want. It's okay to feel uncertain. Embrace that. And know that eventually, if you have enough conversations, if you keep taking action through your confusion, eventually you will find something that feels good. And this is a bit spiritual in that I'm going to tell you that you kind of just have to trust the universe, right? You kind of have to trust that eventually you'll find something that clicks. And the way that you're going to find that is if you follow what feels warm, what feels interesting, what feels exciting, what feels fun, right? So take action by talking to people, by exploring ideas, follow the ones that feel warm and interesting and fun, and eventually something will click. Eventually the fog will lift. Eventually you'll see land on the other side. So that's all I have to say. Uncertainty is normal. If you feel uncertain, that's fine. Don't make a decision just to make a decision. Only make the decision once it's a hell yeah. And you'll know. You'll know when it's a hell yeah. Because I can promise you, you've had jobs and opportunities where it's been like, yes, I cannot wait to start. And then you've had other jobs and opportunities where you've been like, oh, I could do this, or it'll look good on my CV. Or I'm just going to take this because of XYZ rational reason, like it'll be good experience or it'll position me well. And while there's nothing wrong with making those kind of strategic moves, ultimately those moves are not life-giving. They're not energizing. You usually move on from them, or you're usually unhappy pretty soon. So you know what a yes feels like. So just keep taking action through your uncertainty until you feel a yes. And that's all I wanted to say today. Short and sweet. All right, guys, have a great week. Hey, if you're ready to create an energizing career you love, one that is simply an extension of who you are and how you want to live your life, then I want to invite you to schedule a consultation. We'll get to the bottom of what's going on for you and exactly where you need to focus to bring your career and life into alignment. It's free. Just head on over to thecareer.studio /schedule to find a time that works for you. Or if you're enjoying and getting value from these episodes, I'd love you to leave a short review on whatever podcast app you use. This helps other people like you find and get value from the podcast too.